In August 2008, Craig Owens of Chiodos and Johnny Craig of Dance Gavin Dance performed together, which sparked rumors of more potential collaboration between them. These rumors ended up having real merit, as it was revealed on December 15th, 2008 that a supergroup was being created called Isles and Glaciers. This supergroup would be comprised of the previously mentioned Craig Owens and Johnny Craig as vocalists, Nick Martin from Sleeping with Sirens playing lead guitar and background vocals, Brian Southall from the receiving end of Sirens on guitars and keyboard, Matt Godard from Chiodos on bass guitar, and finally, Mike Fuentes and Vic Fuentes from Pierce the Veil with Mike on drums and Vic on vocals and guitar. Now, it doesn't take a genius to realize that this is an incredibly stacked roster of musicians, and it's a genius move. Taking all these people from bands that are steadily gaining tons of traction and having them form a big group to make separate music on. On January 18th, 2009, 3 demos were released from the EP that they were working on, and on March 21st, 2009, these songs were performed live. Unfortunately, and strangely, this was the only live show that has ever been done for Isles and Glaciers, and the album didn't even release until March 9th, 2010. Is this not, like, really weird? Performing live a whole year before an EP release of only 7 songs, never doing another show leading up to the release, and never doing a show after the release. Like, what was going on there? This album got on the Billboard 200 at number 104. I feel like that's pretty commendable for what this is. One more show at least would have made sense. Actually, I take that back, because at one of the Emo Night events in 2024, Vic DJ'd and played the song Clush from Isles and Glaciers. So yeah, 14 years after release, we technically got the second performance from Isles and Glaciers. How incredible. The background that the members of the group themselves provide on this experience is quite interesting. They basically say that many of the songs were made on the fly, and their chemistry was odd as it was the first time they'd been in the same room together. I love how they literally say, yep, that'll probably work, and figure it out later. Here I am saying the same thing about my university projects. Vic states that they had to piece things together and really open themselves up to different ideas, which was said to be a difficult part, and I imagine so because these people had always stuck to their own bands. All these new people offering their own ideas at such a rapid pace must have been nuts. It's said that Vic and Craig did most of the work on the lyrics of this album, but they did their best to fit the voices of the 3 main singers with their lyrical ideas. So overall, we can gather that this EP is a mishmash of everyone's ideas being somewhat messily thrown into a pot and stirred into what we have today, the Hearts of Lonely People EP. And I think this artwork is beautiful. However, it was only released as one of these cardboard paper CD sleeves or whatever these are called. Funny story, I purchased the remixes from the Equal Vision Records site since I needed it to complete the collection, but they sent me this instead, which was fine because I had neither CD at the time. I wonder if Equal Vision Records is trying to tell me something about the remix album. Focusing back on the artwork, we see an accurately shown, hand-drawn representation of Isles and Glaciers. And although an isle is described to be a very small island, I still think it's close enough, and the glacier look is great. The underside of the glacier seems to be comprised of half glacier, half human bones and muscles. I think that's horrifying, but it creatively shows themes of the album well. The 3 hands below, I think, are meant to be Vic, Johnny, and Craig, since obviously there's 3 hands, but I think they're all the same side, so unless there's a demonic creature down there with a bunch of left hands, I think that's what this is meaning. Further below the glacier, it feels dark, but not empty. It's a lonely gray area, which is less blue than the skies above, contrasting what the ocean is commonly known for. When we look back at the top of the artwork, however, the sky is absolutely gorgeous, almost looking like a sunrise, but the stars in space are still somewhat visible. When I trace my eyes on this album from top to bottom, the more I get this feeling of uneasiness. Like, the sky is so full of hope, beauty, and wonder, but just barely below, we see the chilling idea of a living glacier with bones and muscles, and deeper below lies fallen people, perhaps who fell from the beauty of the sky, or it's potentially the leftover pieces from the glacier. Well, let's pop this thing open. Oh. Again, I feel like this all artistically comes together well, but wow, this is nuts. What looks to be the top half of a human jaw sits underneath this lighthouse platform with random body parts plastered everywhere else. The lighthouse is kind of cool with the eye representing the light source, but man, like, the background here is so ominous. These blackened trees and grim sunset is quite the sight to behold. Looking into the booklet, that's it. No lyrics or anything. People nowadays are talking about how CD cases aren't seeing enough care in production, but this is 2010 and this is abysmal, and I wouldn't be able to tell the lyrics at all. Anyways, flipping to the back, we see the back of the Glacier from the front of the cover, but it looks even creepier, with the body horror aspects being cranked up even more, and massive skeletal bones peeking out of the water and lurking below gives this sense of dread. The addition of the Isles and Glaciers logo is pretty nice, I will say, but wow, the art of this is interestingly disturbing. As for what the art is referring to, well, we'll get to that later, but I do think this is high quality art that is at least pretty to look at for the most part. With all of that out of the way, let's pop in this beautiful red CD that actually matches the artwork, and let's get started with track 1. Starting off with an intro song, Kings and Chandeliers gives a slow build-up that slowly brings a piano in, until the strangest combination of what I think is a violin, a twinkling, almost Christmas-sounding electronic bit, and an alarm clock, which is only in the right ear, are added to the melody. I do love how experimental this is, but something about it always made me not like it that much. Once the drums get introduced and start picking up speed, it sounds great, until transitioning to the next song. Again, very cool idea, and I don't have much of a reason to dislike it other than it's a little corny, but I'm a Sonic fan, I love corn, so who knows. I think it sets up the album well, and going right into the next song, Hills Like White Elephants starts immediately with vocals. Craig belts out the title of the album in a melody that keeps the pace of the previous song. What I find hilarious is the alarm clock keeps going in the beginning of this song, as well as all of the choruses. Like, man, they did not want to let that go. Johnny says the lyric of "things aren't the way that we," with a cool distortion effect on it, followed by some nice raspiness in his voice. Vic then comes in with his own unique voice, especially with how he says "heart." This whole beginning feels like they wanted to introduce their own uniqueness in their voices, and while it does sort of happen all at once, it sets up this song and the rest well. Soon after this in the song, we get some really solid vocal work back to back with Vic and Johnny, further showing how well they work together. My favorite part of this song is when Vic starts softly singing in a desperate sort of way, along with the instruments stripping back to match, with some electronic keyboard in there as well. And it caps off with Vic singing with no other instrument playing, before syncing up with his final word in a beautiful way, with the keyboard from earlier slowly creeping back in. Following this, we get a short bridge section with Nick Martin doing some background vocals and some great screams. Leading into the final chorus, the alarm clock and some orchestros lead the song out in a way that still makes me smile a bit. Such a creative but strange idea. While I do think this song has a lot going for it melodically, it does feel a bit too crowded at times, at least compared to the upcoming songs. I feel like I can praise and critique the way their individual voices jump in and out of each other. Sometimes it works better than other times, but overall, I think they still nailed it here. As to what this song is talking about, like with the mention of the album name, thoughts and feelings of loneliness are shown a lot. The imagery of the hearts of lonely people being ripped in front of us is a creative way of saying these people can't handle being lonely forever. The lyrics, so uptight and desperate for attention, and "we're all lost and begging to be found," show this more, as the lonely people the song speaks of crave love and attention that seems impossible to reach. I will say, the repeated lyric of "I need to take it out on you" is interesting, and the forcefulness following it makes it feel like those people who are lonely might be better off that way. "If love is a way out, then please let me in" is cleverly written and subverts the meanings of in and out in interesting ways. "Don't you turn my nightmares into dreams again" is another one of my favorites, and yeah, it's simple and a bit cliche, but come on, it's great. "We all did what we had to do with regrets" does once more feel like opposition to those who are alone. I assume this song is from two sides, and neither is winning, but one side is a lot more aggressive aggressive than louder than the other, and I think the fact those aggressive parts are in a yell or scream as opposed to the faint whispers supports that more. I think this song does show off the themes of the album well, even though some parts feel a bit disconnected. I must say though, Hills Like White Elephants is the name of a book from the 1920s, and it's about a woman who doesn't get to make her own choices, she feels controlled, and themes of abortion is involved. Taking that and looking at the lyrics makes a bit more sense, and maybe this song is a bit of a perception of how the members of the group saw the book themes. I sincerely hope so. Clush begins with Vic doing some great vocal work, specifically when saying, "Do you understand that I?" Then, the iconic guitar riff is introduced, and man, it is such a catchy and bouncy groove. This alone is up there as one of my favorite things from this group's legacy. The chorus has Craig once again delivering some fantastic vocals in a much higher tone of voice than the last song. The way he switches up his voice for the lyric, "I know that every time I see you," is really well done too, as it shows how versatile his range is. Following this, the way Vic belts out "a bunch of boys" sticks out hard in my memory of this song, as it works so well with this verse. Later on, the lyric "around every inch of her body" is sung by Craig, and once again, his vocal work is outstanding here, going so incredibly high and lasting so long. Johnny then comes in, starting with a softer tone, really soothing the song with stripped back instruments, letting his vocals shine. Until the instruments slowly come back in, each hit of the drums sounding louder than the last, with the guitar doing the same riff from the beginning of the song. And as Johnny repeats the same lyrics that were just said but with more aggression, he finishes off with a yell that leads into the final chorus. This song seems to be about a cocky guy who's trying to sweet talk a girl, but that girl is also cocky in her own way. Lyrics of "you are your favorite thing" are used to describe the girl that likely feels perfectly fine on her own, but suppresses feelings of loneliness and want for attention, until the boy comes along saying, "Allow me to introduce myself, I'm the one that you talk about," referencing how he is the key to her. The lyrics in the chorus all feel like imagery for the boy being cocky, taking the girl to all these amazing, exciting places, and the lyric of "let's try our hardest to do what has already been done" perhaps references becoming an official couple, but stating it's already done implies she's already fallen for him after he's sweet talking. "A bunch of boys that have it easy, oh they live in a dream" very likely is referencing the group itself, and the mention of machines afterwards perhaps speaks of how exhausting it can be to do what they do, all for living the dream. I don't think this really fits the built-up story of the song so far, but it's a cool inclusion. However, the third verse is quite confusing, as it references what seems to be a form of assault, but then switches to making her tell a lie, and her making her want to tell a lie. I don't know if these lyrics are correct. Maybe if official lyrics were provided in the CD, this would be easier. The build up to the final chorus is great though, bringing back the cocky attitude with lyrics like, "You know we're on top, this is everything you want." Although the lyric, "who knew the top would be so ugly," confuses me because it sort of comes out of nowhere, maybe showing how this level of cockiness isn't as fun as it seems, but once again it kind of comes out of nowhere. The meaning of the word clush is to collide, and I guess I can see how that works with this song and its lyrics, but I like thinking of this name and its relation to the group name, like it's a slushy or something. Overall though, this song is great at being a fun, bouncy vibe, and while some lyrics stray too far from what the song is trying to talk about, this song is a great jam. Empty Sighs and Wine starts out beautifully with a unique drumming style, followed by an electronic melody that oozes charm. It's so satisfying and works great with the drums. Then the guitars crash in with more drums, and man, this has so much energy. I love how Johnny's vocals on the lyrics, "and I Wanna Tell You," are filled with so much gravel and rasp. And Vic's vocals on "They Never Meant a Thing Before You," right before the chorus, is almost a scream at some points, but is restrained enough where it still sounds relaxed, before trailing off at the end with the word "you." Vic's vocals for the rest of the chorus are especially great, and the guitars and drums go back to the intro melodies. The second verse does some great back and forth with Craig and Johnny's vocal styles. Specifically going from Johnny's deeper tone straight into Craig's incredible range was a great move. The bridge of this song slows the tempo down by a ton, and has Craig doing lots of repeated whispering, and personally, I'm not the biggest fan, but it's still a great vocal performance on Craig's end, and the way he belts out, so I guess we'll never know, is a fun end to that section. Then the chorus comes back with its great drum and guitar patterns, and Vic ends the song with a bit more of a higher pitched tone when saying terrible to cap off the song. Okay, so I have nothing but high praise for the instrumentals, but the lyrics really rub me the wrong way. Johnny starts singing about finding a girl, but not owning a piece of her. Okay, pretty normal stuff. And then Craig says the lyric, "I want to tell you, by the way, I think I've ruined your body." And I just don't like this depiction of rape at all. I'm not saying that you can't cover serious topics in music. That's a reason music works so well as an art form. But this song depicts it in a very creepy way that doesn't have the perspectives in the right places, I feel. And again, it's maybe intentional in showing off the type of people like this, but personally, I just don't vibe with that at all. When I listen to music, I like to be able to relate to the lyrics within it, and I absolutely do not relate to this, and I don't think people who can relate to this deserve to have a song dedicated to them. Please let me know if I'm completely misreading these lyrics, but again, I would love to be proven wrong because, man, the instrumentals and vocals are great. I honestly can't even say for sure if my assumption is 100% correct because, again, these lyrics are confirmed by the band to be a big pot of individual ideas, and coherently it doesn't always make sense, and maybe some messaging just gets lost in the mixture. And because of that, we get songs like this that just leave me confused. The lyrics, "She says, I love you, but you're difficult," words I've heard so many times before, implies he's made mistakes of this nature before and hasn't been learning his lesson, but she stays, hoping for the better. Those words don't mean a thing before you does at least imply that for this girl, he is trying to do better because of the love she has for him. The chorus of this song emphasizes the lyric of ruining her body, and again, I just do not think that this lyric works in any setting because is this not sexual assault? This song feels awful to sing along to because I don't want to jam along to these words in the first person or in any way. And I'm not being sensitive because these artists individually cover all sorts of serious topics in their own bands. But in this instance, the perspective really matters, and I don't think this song does it well at all. After some more questionable lyrics, we get a section in the second verse that genuinely makes zero sense. Now let me tell you how these steps go. Alright, let's hear it. Step 1, tell me what have I done. Okay. Step 2, you know you better believe. What? Step 3, you'll never be like me. What on earth did I just read? In what world are those steps to do anything? They don't relate to each other and are basically completely incomprehensible. Then, in the bridge, imagery of a church full of loss and sadness is described, along with children who have parted ways with God. And like, this is even more concerning because children are involved here, and parting ways with God usually means many things, but it's along the lines of losing innocence or losing faith, and you want to put lyrics about that in a song where sexual assault is explicitly mentioned. What are we doing here? The song ends with the words, "This is terrible, I just don't know," being repeated over and over, and yeah, I agree, this is terrible, and I just don't know what they were thinking when they were writing this. Again, instrumentally and vocally, this might very well be the best song off the EP, but lyrically, this is one of the most disgusting things I've ever read, and I really hope I'm just reading into it wrong. And now, looking back at the cover art and taking everything from this song into account, ruining your body, losing innocence. I can't even view this art the same way without thinking about this song and its horrible implications. Please let me know what you guys think about this one and if I'm wrong about it. My gosh. Oceans for Backyards is mostly silent ambience as a transition for the next song. The ambience does go on for quite a while as a faint guitar doesn't become too audible until the halfway point. and it's got a fun melody, along with the twinkly sounds and piano phasing in and out. Not much to say about this song, but it's cool enough for what it is. Starting out by completing the transition from Oceans for Backyards, Viola Lion is a lot more laid back, with softer, slower paced drums, a peaceful guitar, and some melodic keyboards. Craig begins singing with more of his beautiful, angelic style, really drawing it out on certain words. The chorus just shines with the way Johnny uses his deeper voice to belt out the words diamonds. Vic joins in afterwards, performing a long note on his lyric, "But I sit here and wait," which perfectly complements the mood of the song. Craig then comes in and beautifully sings the chorus, but with almost no instruments, as a build-up for the final one. But I think this section might be better. His soulful, whispery voice carries it so hard. Diamonds, diamonds, are you all in the sky? This song has strong messages of love as well as implications of suicide. I am a million pieces of the sky, I found a way to be alone. Referring to the stars, the boy has found a way to join the world beyond. And I think the lyric that follows, that being, "I'm gonna wait until you want me, until you decide to go home," means that the boy will wait until this girl falls for him, so then that way, he will experience that joy for once until he joins the sky and experiences the joys of being one with the lights in the sky, as said in the chorus. I feel that the mention of the girl going home implies the boy is doing it in a selfish manner. The girl goes home and will later find out the love she gave will be for a dead man, while the boy gets what he wants in the end. The lyric in the chorus, "As these beautiful lights surround me, I will take a photograph of the sky," is fantastic imagery. I'd love to see art of this exact lyric, as it's such a powerful visual for what has happened in this story. The lyrics of "Bury me alone in the light" is perhaps showing how everyone has their own special place in the universe, and while being among the lights, you'll still be your own being. I do think the following lyric, "Don't go home," is likely the girl begging for him not to leave this world, even though from his perspective, he's okay letting her go back to her own home, so why can't he go back to his own true home? "I saw her smiling from the top of the world" is interesting because the perspective is of the boy looking down at the girl after having already taken his life, and perhaps she hasn't found out yet, and he's noticing how she's so happy even when he's gone, maybe expecting a bigger reaction. The song lyrics ending with "bury me" after the photograph in the sky lyric shows the boy enjoying his presence among the stars, while his body is laid to rest under the earth. I love how this song has a rich, upbeat, but somber melody, but dark implications of suicide that are still depicted in sweet ways, by describing the sky above in such a beautiful manner. The final song, "Cemetery Weather," has a great intro melody that makes me think of literal cemetery weather in both vibe and atmosphere, really setting the tone of the song well. Craig sings beautifully as usual. His inflections on "Won't Wait For You" is great. At this point, a piano was introduced, adding to the softer, slower tone, much more so than even the previous song, and this new piano works great with Johnny's pleading vocals. The chorus kicks in with an added guitar, and Vic's higher-pitched vocals doing wonders for this section and lyrics. And this chorus especially has excellent flow and pace, effortlessly gliding along and keeping you hooked. Later on, there's a verse with Johnny doing some more of his deep gravel tones, while Vic does background vocals, and it just works so well once again with this structure. Then, a long rising bridge begins, with Vic and Johnny once again switching up their vocals. One more chorus, and then an instrumental outro that lasts 2.5 minutes, and it just keeps going with the pace. Even the melodies switch up with some small new additions being added. A great send-off to the album, as it then slowly loses some instruments, Craig's vocals of the chorus getting one last distorted bit before cutting the song. The lyrics of this song are simple, but very effective with its message. That being, loving someone who will stick with you till the very end. The first lyrics of the song clearly show how connected these two people are, and the chorus beautifully shows off the theming, as well as the imagery of being buried close together. Jealousy is mentioned as well, as the lyric, "I never knew what I would do if anybody tried to speak your name," basically saying that her name preciously belongs to him, threatening to tear down their house. My goodness. Later on, this behavior is spelled out as well, literally saying this love is a selfish thing. Violent delight, live as if we died. Also emphasizes how much of a morbid, violent love this is. To want to die, just to be immortalized in the ground with a loved one, but living as if they had died, so it's once again bittersweet and carefree. Overall, I quite like the messaging and theming of this song, and oddly enough, it was quite a bit simpler. Like, compared to the other songs, there's no other way to interpret this one. It's deliberate and clear, but I do think that is actually a great thing. While this EP is really only 5 songs long, it definitely leaves a lasting impression, and I'm forever grateful that these people came together in the first place to do something this great. However, due to the nature of this group, clearly a lot of ideas and messaging got mixed up and can feel unrelated to one another. I do think that should be expected. Again, they literally said that a lot of this was thrown together, so it's easier to judge from that lens. But even still, I think that overall, this is a great treat to come back to every now and then, even with its problems. It does a good job of showing off the greatest parts of humanity, but also the darkest, most horrifying depths of it. With that being said, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.